industry, or if somehow I get to motivate you to VLSI industry, once you get into the industry, you might get an idea. And some things you got to figure out, as you go through. But I can give you a larger crux of the what we do here, what is happening here, and a lot of things you might already have an idea of. So it might be a little repetitive. The second is I had given a industrial perspective webinar like last year or something. So if you have attended it, you can find a lot of things repetitive here as well. So that was conducted by training cell, I suppose. So you can find a few things repetitive here. You got to sit through it. There are some few things that I added on. So that was an industrial perspective. So here I've added a few things that would give you an idea how to go through, how to now navigate your placements and stuff. So a few more details, that's it, but more or less the same. And the third thing is, I'll be frank with you, when it comes to placement and everything, interviews and all the things, I haven't attended or taken an interview in like 2 years. So this was the stuff that I did. So this was the approach I did. The strategies I used while going through my placements in my fourth year. I mean, third year and almost. So that's again like 3 years. So it's not 2 years, it's 3 years. So, but I don't think much of this will change. It's more or less the same. But these are few tips and tricks that you can do. So that will be towards the end of the presentation. So let's get right to it. Yeah. So hi, I'm Bharat Srinivasan, and it's the designation is we call it the ASIC Digital Design Engineer. So ASIC is Application Specific Integrated Circuits Digital Design Engineer. So yeah. So to put it short, I make chips. So I am in the process of I work in the process of it. To put it in very layman terms, so I work in specific, like I'll get to where specifically I work in, but to put it very simply, we all have SOCs. We deal with SOCs on a daily basis. If you work in embedded, if you use a phone, so I am in the process of developing certain parts of that system. So system on chip, I work in certain parts of designing those systems. So semiconductor chips basically. And I am an ex-Mason. I graduated in the year 2023. So it's been like 2 years. Yeah. So that's a rough background of mine. So before I go, I work in a company called Synopsys. So after MEC, I joined Synopsys. So let me just give you a rough idea of what Synopsys does. So Synopsys is basically, so to put in effect, it's a software company. All right, they started as a software company, but they also do have IP. So I'll get to what IP is. So the two groups, the business groups of Synopsys are EDA tools and IPs. So EDA tools is basically for designing, semiconductor chips or basically semiconductor chips. You need a certain set of tools. So Synopsys started off as a company that provided these tools that enables faster development of these chips or IPs or SOCs for that matter. And the second is IP. So IP in general context, it's called intellectual property. Here also, it is by definition called intellectual property. But when it comes to a semiconductor industry, anything and everything is an IP basically. So you design a small part of a larger chip, and you sell it to a company that manufactures the chip or develops the chip or something like that. Let's say, for example, you have Intel. So I designed a part that controls maybe I don't know. I have a system that interfaces with the RAM. All right. So that is the IP. So I sell the IP to Intel so that they can use it to develop their larger chip. So that's basically an IP. So we call anything and everything an IP. So it's an intellectual property when it comes to semiconductor industry. So when you go for further, you can see this IP development. We all call it IP development or IP sales, etc., etc. So you can see that very common especially when you go into the electronics industry. All right. So Synopsys has two business groups: the EDA. So EDA is a little bit more bigger. So the major business comes from that. But I work in the IP sector. So I help in designing circuits, electronic circuits in again in layman terms. So going further. So so I told you what Synopsys does, and so what does my team do? So when it comes to an SOC, you have all heard of SOCs, right? So I hope you do, because most of you are from third year and fourth year, so you should be familiar with the terms SOCs, IPs, and everything. So you've got an SOC. So SOCs, so I'll give an anatomy of everything. So SOCs have multiple subsystems. All right. So SOC is a system on chip, and now you have a set of subsystems. And each subsystem has multiple IPs that come together, that we integrate and we sell. All right. So I work here in subsystems. So Synopsys has a set of IPs. So I help in integrating these IPs to create a subsystem, and we sell it to companies that makes SOC. So now you got a rough, a much more clear idea, I hope, about what an IP is and what I do. So I work in the subsystems. But an SOC can have multiple subsystems, right? If you think about it, you have, in the DSP subsystems, a lot of things. You basically need multiple things, that multiple systems that comes together to work together to make, to enable whatever you want, even if it is general SOC. So what subsystems does my team work on? That is interface IP subsystem. So what is interface IP subsystem? It's basically, I would put it as high-speed interconnects. All right. So if any of you have assembled a computer or put together a computer, or basically you've done a PC building, you might have come across the PCI port. So PCI port is where you plug in your graphic card. So you plug in your NVIDIA graphic card into the PCI port. So such ports are a subsystem. So the DDR, PCI, Ethernet, all these interfaces that you get out of a chip is basically our smaller subsystem within the chip that interfaces with the outside peripheral. All right. So PCI stands for Peripheral Chiplet Interconnect Express. So it interfaces with the peripherals that basically your graphic card is a peripheral. So it interfaces with that, and it's outside the chip. So such interfaces are basically what we deal with, what we sell, or what we integrate and sell, basically. So yeah. So that means and also the speed is higher when it comes to these interfaces. So it goes up to 2 terabytes per second. So a TBPS speed is also being achieved. So we work in that speed of arena. So when it comes to Ethernet, it's not mostly it just doesn't come with the general use case laptops, Ethernet interfaces that we see, but also server based. So that needs terabytes worth of speed, right? So that's where I work in. So that this is the ASIC design flow, right? So I just want to give you where exactly I fit in, where does my work fit in. So the dotted square out here, right? So that's where my work comes into play. So you've got architecture is not something that I do. So architecture design is done by the SOC folks. So there will be an SOC architect there and a team. So they define the architecture, and then we get the specifications that they need, the requirements. So from there we design the RTL, and and then verify it, and then send it back to them. So we send it as soft IPs, and at times we do physical design as well, PD. But mostly these two, RTL design and functional verification, is where I work in. And mostly in RTL design. I used to work in functional verification, but RTL design is now I've shifted to design. So yeah, even in design, you've got a lot of stuff that comes in between, but I don't want to go into the details because I think that a lot of that would require a lot more to explain, and I don't want to bore you with the details. So once you come into the industry, I think it will be much more clearer and easier for you. So, but I just want to give you a rough crux of what happens where. So this is all I have as an intro, what I do, where does it everything fit in, blah, blah, blah. But now I would like to tell you how I prepared for my placement. So third years, fourth years is what Namish told me as we started, as we discussed regarding the session. So all of you might be, in the pre-preparation or in the preparation phase for the placement. So uh, I can't give you a straight up pointer that you do this, you crack the interview, or you do this, you get placed. No. So I can just give you the stuff that went through, the ideas or the strategies I did to get through it, and maybe you'll find it insightful and you can take it up. You can use it in your interviews as well. So moving on. So a general set of tips and tricks. First is, this is what I've told in the industry perspective webinar as well by training cell. Strategizing your placements. This is very important. So most of the people just goes in blank, head first blank. That is really wrong. I mean, I wouldn't say really wrong. That might put you in a big disadvantage, because I've seen a lot of my juniors or my classmates, they set up for a particular company, and the second that doesn't work out, it cannot work. There are chances that it might not work out, right? You There's a lot of luck factor as well involved when it comes to placement. So I have an interesting story to that, but again, I don't want to bore you with the details. But there is a lot of luck factor when it comes to placements. So it's not just your skills, the things you do, the knowledge you have, but you need a certain luck to get through. So the second it doesn't happen, everything crashes, right? So it's very important to strategize your placement. The plan A, plan B, plan C. It's not just like plan A or everything goes to hell. That doesn't work out like that. So first is plan A, plan B, plan C. And especially we are in a very long recession. Like the recession we thought might end in 2022, went on till 2023, 24, 25. It's still coming on. There are a lot of hiring freezes in multiple companies. So yeah, so it is very important that you strategize your placement. So first is study the placement pattern over the years. So like take 2 to 3 years before, and you can see that certain companies, I wouldn't say Synopsys is one of such companies, but certain companies come for placement in particular time. Like they come on fixed time. So like if a company comes during November or year end, then every year you can find them coming around that area, right? Or you can see a generic pattern. VLSI companies or core companies comes in the beginning or at the end, and then in the companies, there are certain companies therein you can keep it as backup, according to your interest. That comes during the middle time of the placement, the not in the beginning or not the end. So it's better to plan it out like that. I didn't have a written down plan, but I had a mental plan. Like, this is my first step. If that doesn't work, I'll go to this and I'll do this, blah blah blah, like that. So that is how I plan my placement. So it's always good to study the placement pattern first, and then circle out the companies you prefer the most preferred list. A hierarchical order. So first was Synopsys or Cadence. Actually, for me, the first was I'll be frank with you, was a company called OpenFi. Uh, can I ask you something, Namish? Can you hear me? What do you see on my screen? Is it still how I prepared for my placements? Oh, shucks. Okay, my bad. It got stuck in between. Let me just reshare. Mm, okay. How about now? Yeah, yeah. Strategize your placement. Yeah, perfect, perfect. So this is the hierarchical order of preference. So for me, it was a company called OpenFive. So I used to think that OpenFi I like up until my the year before me, 2 years before me, OpenFi used to be a regular recruiter, but OpenFi didn't come our year. So then goes to my second preference, the companies of secondary preferences. That was Synopsys, Cadence. So they came in. Synopsys came first. Luckily, I would say with a lot of luck, I got in Synopsys. All right. So yeah, so that's how you strategize your pitching. So after that, if that doesn't work out, I had another set of companies that I would look out for. And at the same time, I think you have in placements, you have some certain limitations, right? You can only attend three. I don't remember it right now. I used to remember all those order, but now I really don't. So I think you can only attend three placements. And if it is the most sensitive companies, then you are done. You need to, you can't sit for anything else. So accordingly, strategize it first. So I knew a few friends who got into a company, and that wasn't, yeah, C2 sensitive. That is the topest, the topmost, right? You get into a C2 sensitive, you're done. You can sit for any more of the places. So I knew a few friends who, to secure a basic placement, they went for a C2 company and they got in and they were trapped. They didn't have any other option to go into any other companies, and that was a little difficult for them. So even if you might do good in placement, so make sure that you strategize it well. All right. So create a hierarchical order of preference and analyze the usual period of the year the companies comes in for placements. What I said earlier. So every year you can find a certain pattern. There'll always be a pattern, because especially when it comes to corporate companies that has centralized placements. Okay, centralized recruitment. So Synopsys is not such a company. Synopsys has team-wise recruitment. Okay, so what the difference is, so in Synopsys, basically, if a team has a recruitment, has a requirement, they start a recruitment on their own. So they don't have to have a central HR recruiting for them. All right. So therefore, in Synopsys, the placement pattern will be very sparse and very will have a longer range. So some teams might come early on, some teams might only recruit later. But when it comes to companies, this is very general. All right. So let's say I've seen companies like Deloitte, they come in a specific time of the year. So uh, accordingly, plan accordingly, right? So just I think the placement cell will be okay to give you that data, or you can contact your seniors. What I did was I contacted my seniors, so they helped me through it. So you can understand where which company comes in, so at what time which company comes in, so that can be used as a reference to for you to strategize your placements. Next is proper detailed plan. All right. So you have to have a plan A, plan B, plan C. At least I would say I had a plan A, plan B, plan C. And again, with a lot of luck, I just had to, I was able to stick with just the plan A. Plan A panned out for me, but always have a plan A, plan B, plan C. All right. For me, I would just give you a rough example. For plan A was, get into the company of my highest preference. Second was plan B was pan out and start searching for the other companies that I might like work in, but it's not the top of my priority, top of my preferences. And then at the year end, there might you with any luck, there might be few more semiconductor companies that might come in. So plan C was, if either of these doesn't pan out, I was planning on going to certain companies in Bangalore, so certain institutes in Bangalore that they prepare you for the LSI industry. So I'll get to that later. So that is like the final plan. So these were the multiple plans that I devised during my placement. So just you shouldn't follow this strictly, but always have multiple plans when it comes to placements. Then this is very important. This is not something everybody takes into account. Mental health. Placement is a very stressful period. A lot of your friends are getting placed. You might have a lot of other things that is bothering you as well. So make sure you account for that as well in your placement uh, schedule and everything. And it's okay not to get placed. So that is very important and something that you need to understand. Sometimes you might get placed after college. There are opportunities after college. So it's important to stay focused and, I know it's just words at times, but, you might not get placed during a campus placement, but after which also you have multiple opportunities. First, one big thing about MEC is that you have a strong alumni. So everywhere, when it comes to Synopsys, at least in Synopsys Bangalore, we have around 50, 60 people. All right. So whichever area you want to get into, like whichever team you want to get into, there might be at least one person who knows somebody there. All right. You have a second degree conductor. So that is something that you need to keep in mind. So it can be stressful. It might not pan out the way you want it, but it's not the end of the world. So uh, take a chill pill, like be calm. You can figure it out. Maybe not during your college years, maybe after you graduate, you can jump back into the industry. It's not that difficult. It's a little bit more difficult than having a campus placement, yes, but it's not impossible. So make sure you account for your mental health as well. So the next is a general set of tips and tricks with navigating the interview. So that is again something that everybody overlooks because first thing is they always consider interviews to be as same as a viva. Okay, that's not the case. So viva both are oral. One is an oral test and another is interview. So both are different things, right? So first thing you need to understand is, unlike a Viva, a good interviewee will have a small control over the interview as well. I know this is a statement that has been made, that you might have heard from multiple people, but they never get to tell you how you can do that, how you can navigate your interview. So, few things that I have used during my placements or my interview is, first is, if yeah, again, how is this is not a how, but you always have to navigate to your stronghold. So there might be a weaker points. Uh, by not making it visible to the interviewer that this is your weaker point, you can navigate slightly to your stronger, the area that you have confidence in. That's doable. The first thing, one strategy that I have, it has worked out for me, is that using my projects as a stalking horse, right? So if a semiconductor, if an I if for example, when my company came in, when my team came in, subsystems team came in, I knew that they wanted somebody who knows, who is to effectively work in digital design, right? And I had a project that was, I think, a controller based on MIPS 32 architecture. It's a very straightforward architecture and very simple project actually. But I made sure that on my first interview, towards like during the end of my introduction, I made sure that I mentioned that I did this project, all right, and I made sure that the interviewer hears that, and that uh, that is made clear there. That is, the interviewer will remember that during the forthcoming aftermath of whatever happened after the introduction. So what happened was, yes, the interviewer took note of it, and my first interview, the 90% of my first interview was based on my project. One project, not all of the others. The rest of the project they touched base upon. That's it. This one project, MIPS 32 architecture based controller. The interviewer asked me detailed question about it, and I was pretty sure about that project, and I knew the architecture, everything, top down. പച്ച മലയാളത്തിൽ പറയുകയാണെങ്കിൽ പച്ചവെള്ളം പോലെ എനിക്കറിയായിരുന്നു. So that helped me a lot, right? So that is one strategy that worked out for me. There are other strategies as well, but make sure this is in your, this is in your arsenal. A good project that could help you get through it. Whatever company you are in, the team might need a particular set of skills, and if you have a project that directly indicates to that skill, that will be very good. Then the second is, it's not a test but an interview. So the first thing is, like, this is the first point I mentioned earlier. Most people take it as a viva, all right. Most people, it's not anybody's fault. We are all new to a company interview. The first, I think, Synopsis was the first interview, recruitment interview that I have approached as well. But I had a lot of mock interviews from my seniors, so that helped me understand that, like, interview is not like a test. Interview is not a test. In a test, they determine whether you pass or fail. In interview, they just check whether you are suitable for the work they want to, they want you to do eventually. So first thing is, when you are asked questions, thinking out loud. So uh, this is something that it's not a strategy that most people have devised, but has been very useful for me. So thinking out loud in a way that you are asked a difficult question, all right, you are asked a difficult question and you are thinking about answers and everything. So in a viva, you always do it like, you are asked a question, you formulate the answer, and you respond back with the answer, right? So it's fairly direct communication, no problem there. But what if the question is difficult for you in an interview? You have a wrong answer, they say no, this is wrong, and you go back again, you try to figure it out, and you give an answer again, no, wrong. And think about it in an interviewer's perspective. So he asks the question, he or she asks the question, you respond, not good. In repetitive, you go on loops, you are not responding properly, and for them, you are not, you don't have any idea regarding that. But the second strategy that I use here is that thinking out loud. Basically, what I do is that I tell them what my steps are, basically. So if you think about it, like, okay, they gave me a question. So okay, but they asked me like, Bharat, can you give me a divide by three frequency divider? Divide by three frequency divider. And I will go like, okay, you have got this. So this won't be just happening in my brain. I'll say it out loud to the interviewer. So you have the first flop, the second flop, and a logic that controls after three flop cycles that will reset the whole reset all three flops or something like that. All right. So you just need two flops there. Anyways, what I meant was that I let out. I think I take them through my thinking process, right? I take the interviewer as well through my thinking process. So what happens there is that even if your answer is wrong, they know that you have the capability to understand, or you have the creative understanding, or you have an in-depth understanding of the topic they have put in. You just haven't come up to the proper answer yet. They might even guide you towards the proper answer. Just think out loud. Whatever be the question, just don't put it in. Like, what's the worst that could happen? You might be thinking about something stupid, a brain fart, and what happens? You might not get an interview. You might not get through with the interview. But what I would say is that it's better than the other alternative where you keep everything in your mind and you just fill out the answers. It's always good to think out loud. Whatever your thinking process is, thinking steps is, just communicate it with your interviewer as well. Then second is, it might be a stress round and you might not even know it. It happened to me. That's why I'm saying this. Well, I had three interviews for Synopsys. The third interview was a stress round. I never knew that was a stress round, and I did the first step, like thinking out loud. I kept on thinking out loud, and every time I came up with an answer, it was wrong, and I never got around to the answer for that question. I don't remember the question now, but I never got around to that question till the end. And after the interview, I was kind of sure that yeah, it's done for me. I have to look for the next placement. But surprisingly, I got the job, and I asked the interviewer. The interviewer works closely with me in my team now. So I asked him like after I got it, like I didn't answer that, and he was like, "It was a stress round. We weren't expecting an answer from you. We were looking at your thinking process, how you respond to a question, and how you can manage the stress." Okay, so this is a high stress job, and not a high stress job, a moderately stressful job, but how you can handle it is very important for them. So they are looking for a person who would work with them for a longer period. So if you and that requires maybe managing a team. So it comes around with a lot of stress and a lot of stuff that you have to deal with. So do you have the capability to handle it? That was what they look. That's what they look for in a stress round. And you might not know it's a stress round until afterwards. So be chill is something that is important throughout the interview. And this is very important. Never say it was never there in the syllabus or something like that. It has happened, and I got to know it after coming into synopsis. I don't know who, I don't know. I don't know where it came from, or it was a false information, but from MEC itself, there was an incident wherein the interviewee told the interviewer that, I'm sorry, it was not taught in our syllabus. Just say you don't know it. You can figure it out and come back to you. I haven't checked it out. That's okay. But don't say it was never there in the syllabus. That's a very bad answer to give. Just say that okay, I'm not really, I don't know this. I don't know the topic, or I haven't explored it really much. But I can learn about it and come back to you or something like that. Okay, so that's there. Next is now VLSI placement specific, where the areas to cover and a few other tips and tricks. So CMOS basics, that is very important. So it hasn't been asked for me in my interview because mine was a digital interview. But when it comes to analog interviews, device physics is very important. Regions of operation, everything. One best place to go is Razavi lectures. In YouTube, you can search for Bazad Razavi, and he has amazing lectures. All right. Okay. I don't want to say it out loud, but trust me, my interest in whole uh, VLSI, or for that matter, I have more interest in analog. I always had. that came up because of these lectures, all right, not because of the classes I attended in MEC. Yes, one of my professors did recommend me the Razavi lectures, but he is an absolute, he's a wonderful professor. You will start loving electronics if you listen to his lecture. If you already had a passion or something lingering around, if you listen to his lectures, you will absolutely love it. It's a wonderful set of lectures, all right. So try that out. Next is static timing analysis, the setup time, hold times, queues. So that is very important even for digital interviews, especially when it comes to as you go towards the backend. So the backend as in physical synthesis, hardening and everything. Static timing analysis is a very critical, uh, it's a very critical process in the whole thing. So yeah, that cover that, very important. Verilog basic structures, and have a project done in Verilog. I would say if you're coming for a VLSI placement, Verilog projects are very much required. And understand Verilog, top down. You must know how to do and write an RTL effectively. All the like the behavioral model, everything. Just make sure that you have Verilog understood. You have a basic understanding of everything. And CMOS power and related. So if there is a backend team coming, so there might be power related questions, even within the even within your test, the initial test before you go into the interview. There power related questions, CMOS power related questions are there. You have, I think there is a course by IIT. IIT. I don't remember which IIT. Maybe I can pass it out to Namish after the session. I forgot. I think properly, but they have a wonderful NPTEL course on power and related, CMOS power and related. Check it out. It's really fun and it's really easy. It's not that difficult to understand. I know power electronics, it's not power electronics, but CMOS power dissipation, low power mode, blah, 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 all the stuff, right? So it's very easy. It's not that difficult of a thing. Just understand the basics. You don't have to go in depth as well. Next is practice selected gate questions, right? Most basics, regions of operations, all those are asked in gate. I used to have a book, the gate book, right? I think Riley's, I don't remember which company was it. They had a gate preparation book. I used to have that. So I used to pick out selected questions, and even the theory used to be there. So it can be useful for the, not for the interview round. Sorry, that's a typo. Not for the interview round, for the initial test. The prior to the interview, you have to go through a test, right? So that can be really useful. The gate questions can be really useful for the the test round. And design flows, the ASIC design flow and the FPGA design flow, there aren't much, but ASIC design flow, very important. Make sure that you know design flow. If you don't know that, that is a red flag as far as the interviewer is concerned. Make sure that you know what is the output of each step, right? If you have a, if I go back to my uh, yeah, here after the RTL design, after the functional verification, you provide an RTL basically. After that, there is a synthesis process. So that comes in the PD. That's not, we don't consider that to be inside PD, physical design, but synthesis is the process of converting the RTL into, netlist. So, right. So you need to know what is the output of each step after PD. In between PD and synthesis, there is DFT, design for testability in insertion. So there are a lot of stuff that happens in between. So make sure you have a detailed understanding of ASIC design flow, and maybe not much required towards the fabrication, packaging, and testing, and all those things. That is mostly fabrication, packaging, and testing, and everything. Packaging, at least, is mostly chemical engineering, fabrication as well, but that is okay. But up until the PD and everything, and after that, uh, after post tapeout, there is a set of testing as well. Post synthesis validation and stuff. So you need to check that out as well. It might give you. Uh, they might not ask you, but it's good to know the entire flow. But at least up until the PD, you need to know what each steps are, what sub processes of all these functional verification activities and all those are, and you can get the details online. All right, I'm not going into the details, but you need to know what each steps are, what is the output of each steps, and you know Because any of these teams, the team in any of these at this point, like it might be an RTL design team, it might be a functional verification team, it might be a PD team. Any of these teams can approach you for an interview, and you need to know what they do, at least a peripheral understanding, if not in depth, right? So it's good to know the entire ASIC design flow. Going back, so design flow, and good to have at least a VLSI. As I said earlier, you will have a Verilog project, all right, a simulation environment, everything set up, just a basic project, nothing in that, nothing very big. A basic project will be good to have in your resume. Cool. So this is something that I took out of the the industrial perspective webinar by uh, uh, training cell. I had given this. So this is like a rough table that will give you what you need and stuff. Technical skills, of course, you need it, and a good understanding of design flows. A good understanding of MOS physics. It might come in analog and digital circuits, analog and digital placements as well. Verilog language knowledge, very important in digital, and having a good Verilog project. It's an added bonus. It gives you an edge, right? Communication skill. That is attend maximum mock interviews. You are doing one right now in Flex, very good. But just don't limit yourself to one. What I used to do is that I used to have a lot of connections with the seniors that you went into semiconductor industry. So when I was in first year, I knew a few people. Second year, third year, all these years I got around to meeting people who effectively went to the semiconductor industry. So I reached out to each of them and asked them to take a mock interview for me. So that helped me a lot. All right. So that's where I got to understand thinking out loud strategy, and all those strategy that was devised or that I understood during those, and I put it, I tried putting it into testing it out during these mock interviews as well. So else the thing is, if at all the most preferred company that you have during your placement is the first company that you have an interview with, it will be completely new to you. You don't know how to react, how to introduce yourself. Introduction is itself at times a little difficult when it comes to an interview. It's a stressful time. You will have a lot of things going on in your mind. So once you have a experience, at least a mock experience, multiple mock experience, you know how to go through, how to navigate in your interview. So it's good to have multiple mock interview. And participate in debates and GDs. Personally, I have done that very little during my college days. So debates a little, yes, but GDs not really. But if you find yourself lacking communication skills, it's better to have these both. Try and participate in all of these, right? Second is public speaking helps. That is something that I did instead of debates and GDs. Like I used to do a lot of public speaking back when I was in college. Small ice breaking sessions and all those things, just to make sure that I am confident when it comes to facing a set of people, facing a crowd or facing a person in individual, and I can speak my mind out in whatever language they prefer, English, yeah, Malayalam, everything. Right. So that is something that is very important. Make sure that you can talk, you can speak, you can communicate with another person clearly. Okay. And not to go overboard as well. That's also important. When you talk, you don't have you it's important to give copious details, but you don't bore the other person with a lot of details or a lot of things, right? And networking, yeah, that is something that I would say is very important, because you might never know who gets you an opportunity, right? So by the time I was in my third year, I connected with multiple people from different colleges, all right? So I used to be part of IEEE as well back in uh, back during my college days. So uh, I got to meet a lot of people from different colleges who effectively came down to the semiconductor industry, right? So I reached out to all of them and I told them that this is something that I'm looking for, and I made them take a few mock interviews for me as well. Eventually, they all told me that if that doesn't pan out for you, let me know. If I see some opportunities, I can recommend you. All right. So such connections might help you. All right. If not for on placement, but at least might help you. Navigate through, or if they don't recommend you directly for an interview, they might help you prepare for one. So make sure you have a good network of people who can help, who is connected to the industry that you're looking forward to. And test preparations, basics of electronics, analog and digital, as I said, most physics, STA, and all those things, gate questions are really good for that. Not every, but selected. So you have, I think, training cell or placement cell provides you a set of previous questions and everything, right? I think they do. So if that is the case, just go with it. Just check for it. I don't remember what all questions they asked me during my test, initial test, but uh, you know, I think your immediate seniors, the ones who have just got placed, they might remember a lot more of those questions. Collect that from them, and you will have a rough idea on which all topics that you can cover and which all topics you can focus on. Right? Gives you a rough idea. Internships. Keep look. I would say that will be in the company's career page. Keep a lookout. Check out in LinkedIn as well. Sometimes it will be there. And keep pinging your seniors. They might know of any internship that's happening in their team. All right. So sometimes that might also be helpful. The networks that you build might be helpful there as well. So I think that's it from me. So I hope I give you guys a rough idea of what the industry is and what you can expect and maybe what they expect from you. Thank you. Any questions? I think you had a set of questions, right, Namish? Can you do you have it? Yeah, I remember that. But yeah. Uh, Thank you. One second. So let me just stop my presentation. Uh, okay, I got it. No problem. So one first question is regarding, yeah, okay, it's there here. Uh, yeah, no problem. I'll start with this and we'll go ahead with the rest as we go. Right. So first is gate preparation, easy gate preparation. I'm sorry, I have very less idea, Sri Lakshmi. So I haven't prepared for gate personally. So my idea of a master's was always somewhere abroad, has always been. So I never went around to looking for gate preparation. I just used a few. I had a book, a gate book that you helped me with the interviews. I mean the tests for my placements. But other than that, I have a very little idea about gate preparation, but I can connect you with people who have done gate preparation. With a few of my friends, they might be able to help you out with that. But yeah, gate preparation. If one thing I would like you to, if you are looking for very specific VLSI industry, just check out one particular program by IIT Madras. It's it's a collab between IIT Madras and what was that? And I think it's a collaboration between IIT Madras and Texas Instruments. All right. It's an MS program. It's not an MTech. So it's an MS program, which it's on analog electronics as well. Since you are looking for gate, this is a prospective course that you can look into. All right. I was also, if I was going for a master's here, that was something that I was looking forward to. Just check that out. But preparation wise, I have a very little idea. Scopes of jobs in easy other than VLSI. A lot, I would say. Core EC, it's VLSI or maybe a little bit embedded systems and PCB designs and all those things. But you have a lot of jobs that is different from that. You have a set of mechatronics companies that are coming in India, even in Kerala. So you can check out companies like I think there are a lot of startups. I don't remember the startup names, but you have a lot of companies that are doing mechatronics, IoT, uh, embedded, and all those companies. If I wouldn't say have that, it's not core EC, but it's IoT embedded systems and everything is. I wouldn't call it core EC, core electronics, but it's electronics. It's also fun to look into. It was one of the companies that I had initially areas that I had initially considered as a prospective area that I could get jobs in. But it's core EC, VLSI, and PC. Embedded. I would say VLSI and embedded. But there are a lot of interdisciplinary companies, or not interdisciplinary, cross tech. I would say. Like mechatronics. Mechatronics is something that is very prospective. That is coming a lot. That has a lot of companies that are coming up in India and Kerala as well. Kochil nare company under. Just check it out. Uh, design trade-offs. How do you approach trade-offs between area, power, and performance in practical projects? Naveen, is Naveen here? Uh, I would like to. I have a follow-up question. So, what is your use case? Is something that I would ask. Uh, any chance he's here? No, I don't think Naveen is here. No worry. So the trade-offs always happens between, area, power, and performance based on it happens in SoC architecture level. So it's based on your application. So if you have an embedded system or if you have a chip that effectively has to go into your smartwatch, you wouldn't need a system with high performance, right? You wouldn't need like when I told you I work on Ethernet and PCIe. So we have projects that works in 1.6T speed and terabits per second speed and stuff. You didn't want that in your, in your watch. But when it comes to a server, you will need that. But server will have much more capabilities to have harness more power. It can give in more power, but that's not the case uh, in a watch, in a smartwatch, right? And when it comes to area as well, again, what is the system, what is your end usage is something is also something very important. Second is then is digital electronics. Panjami, I didn't understand your question. I'm really sorry. If you are here, you can maybe elaborate upon it. uh, is she here? No, I don't think so. Okay. Yeah, no problem. Let's go ahead. Can you talk about government sector jobs opportunities and teaching job opportunities after engineering? Teaching job opportunities, I have very little knowledge on because I haven't explored it much. But hey, you have your professors right there itself. Why don't you ask them? They are the perfect people to ask, give you an answer on teaching job opportunities. But government sector, I think you can you can get a lot of jobs in DRDO, ISRO, and all those things. So government sector has ISRO especially has semiconductor wing, and especially in VLSI. And generally engineering, you have a lot of jobs that are coming up in government sector. I think you can just roughly ask around people who are working in ISRO if you want anything a little bit more core into proper tech. You can ask ISRO, then DRDO and all those, right? You have got core jobs working all there in all these places. So we have that National Oceanography wing of DRDO near our college, right? So they used to do collaborative projects with our college as well every year. I don't know if that is still happening. If so, just keep in touch with them. I think you need to, write gate in order to get in there. But if that is what you want, then that is a prospective area that you can look into. Then that is VLSI companies, VLSI job opportunities in India or dominant or VLSI dominant. What? VLSI dominant in which all countries? Okay, okay. So countries, I would say Europe, generally Europe, Germany a little bit, Sweden, uh, Netherlands. When it comes to Europe, US is one of the like, despite of the current situations in US is one of the leading countries that has a lot of that has a strong semiconductor industry. Then Taiwan is also coming up, but had socio-political issues, it. That is something that is causing a lot of people not going to Taiwan. But NVIDIA is recruiting a lot from Taiwan, is what I heard. So a lot of companies are there in Taiwan. India, yes, a lot of companies are there in India. Opportunities, VLSI job opportunities is ample in India. Yes, we are going through a recession, but still we have a lot of opportunities. A lot of companies like NVIDIA, Texas Instruments, sorry, not analog electronics, sorry, analog devices, Synopsys, Cadence, Samsung, a lot of companies are there. Even Google, I think, have their a few of their VLSI teams in India. So yes, India is a hub for VLSI jobs, at least in the soft IP end. India, US, both these countries are. I've seen people who have went to Europe come back to India and work here. All right, so India is a hub for VLSI job opportunities. There is no doubt in that. But also Europe is also there. I wouldn't say Middle East. I haven't seen much jobs there. I haven't seen much people go in there for VLSI, especially in VLSI industry. But India, Europe, US, maybe a little bit of Canada. Yeah, that's basically it. Uh, and also, Singapore has a few industries that are coming up. So if you want to pan out and look into various countries, Singapore, even Vietnam, those areas. So East Asia, that area is also prospective, but I don't know. There are a lot of socio-political uh, issues that you might face there, or you might not face there. I'm not very clear on that, but if as far as industry goes, it's panned out. You have multiple opportunities in different countries. Next, which all subjects are focused for landing a core job? I gave you that already, so I'm skipping that question. How to get an internship in VLSI or any hardware domain? So it's mostly a lot of these companies have like at least in Synopsys have a strict rule that 5 years only. So you have to get you have to be a final year or a graduate in order to an undergraduate. You have to have the undergraduate degree uh, in order to uh, get a internship, or at least if you're in a final year, some teams accept that. So they don't do part-time internship, but they only do full-time internship. The best place is to keep a note in the company's career page, and sometimes they come for recruitments within from your campus itself. And Namesh, quick question: is the Synopsys University program still in motion? Is it still happening, or has that? Okay, okay. So if you have that working, it's much better if you can get involved in that. Like this is a general advice. Okay, so like if you can get involved in that, that will be very good. A starter. I think if you are part of Synopsys University program, there is an internship opportunity waiting for you at the end of it. So be focused on that. That might be a good start, or good. That might be a good place to score an internship. Then how to opt for off-campus placement and when. How to opt? I don't think that there is a thing for opt or anything. You start searching for it as soon as you want to, as soon as your placements start, or even before that if you want. Uh, in parallel, you can search, keep in tag with your seniors, like keep pinging your seniors, and company's career page and LinkedIn. These three places is where you get campus placement. So when I would say that's where you strategize. So for me, in the initial days, like so what I found during my year was a set of core companies comes in the beginning and at the end of placement seasons. So in the middle, like there's a time when no companies come, like no core companies comes for placement. So it might have changed over the years, but at least in my year, that's what I saw. And what my strategy was initially focus on purely on campus placement, and during the middle time, just pan out, search for off campus, and at the end again focus on campus placements, and after that again pan out. So that was my strategy, but don't make it the Bible. Just you know tweak it according to your requirements or your strategy or your idea, like whatever you want, basically how you want to plan out, it's up to you, but this was my strategy. uh, how can we know whether a company came to our college? Wait, what? Wait, okay. Oh, which was a question. How can we know whether a company that came to our college will visit the college this time as well? Sorry that you can't know. That is something, a lot luck based. As I told you, Open5 did come with me before my year, but it never came around during my year. So it's a lot of luck. So you prepare, you hope, and you can reach out to seniors and get some information whether their team will be, especially in Synopsys, you can know whether their team will be hiring or not this time, and you can get some information like that in different companies, but it's a lot of luck. Sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. Sometimes there will be a hiring freeze in that company and they might not come around. Sometimes they come and then they don't take anybody. Everything, all of these happen. That's why I said placements is a lot of luck, and a lot of your knowledge and all those things as well, but a little bit of of luck as well. Do BTech VLSI students need to do MTech in VLSI? Oh, that is uh, that is, I don't know how to answer that question. Like, do you need to do according to what you want to do? Like, if you want to do an MTech uh, to score a different place, I don't know. I've been in BTech. I did my BTech in EC, not VLSI specific, but I don't think it's as a necessity. If you want to do it, if you see an opportunity, I personally, I don't know if you're doing MTech in VLSI in MEC itself, I don't see a very drastic increase in your chances in getting into the industry. It's almost the same, a little bit more, yes, but it's almost the same. Is it worth the effort? Something that you have to ask yourself. You can talk to people who have done MTech in VLSI, but I wouldn't prefer it for me. All right, had I been in your situation, I would try to score a job from BTech itself and then go for an MS more than an MTech. So that's just me. Again, don't make it the Bible, but something that you can look forward to, think about. Chances of VLSI in abroad, which is better for this field, staying in India or moving abroad. So that depends on multiple factors. India, your cost of living is less and you get paid a lot in the VLSI industry. So if you want to make money, okay, this is something you might not hear a lot, but if you really want to make money, a lot of people from Europe has come back to India, and just because it's much more savings oriented. If you want to think long term savings and all those stuff, India is much better in the VLSI industry. All right, now I wouldn't say generic, but I've seen a lot of people come back from Europe because it's they say that money making is much more better here. Kind of jobs, it's different in India, it's different in US, it's different. You get different set of jobs, but India also. So there is a generic thing that you get a lot of mundane jobs in India, repetitive and all those stuff. But I'm seeing that there are also different kinds of research oriented works also coming to India, but it's slow, but it's coming up. So the kind of jobs, again, I think personal take, I think, yeah, Europe and US have much more exciting, the areas that you need to put creativity in. And VLSI abroad, yeah, that's it. So India and abroad, and work-life balance, Europe is the best. I don't have to tell you about this. It's always been like that. Not US, not India. It's always been Europe. Europe, you have a perfect work-life balance in most places. US and India, or for that matter, South Asia, work-life balance will be a little bit more difficult. US is the same. You might not get a proper work-life balance. So you gotta choose what are your priorities and do accordingly, I would say. What are the job opportunities in analog field? Do companies visit our college for analog positions? Yes, Synopsys has visited, but not in my year. I think they came in my year and they did not recruit anybody. I got placed for digital by that time, so I never got into the interview or any of that. But they do come. Synopsys does come, but I don't think core analog companies like analog devices or TI has visited our campus for campus recruitment. Um, but yeah, analog field does have a lot of job. So when it comes to most of the companies, when it comes to at least high speed interconnects, I could tell you in the perspective of my job descriptions that HSC, one of the part that is very critical for any high speed interconnects, basically the physical interface. And the phi is basically consists of something called SERDIS. You might have heard it, might not have heard it. That's okay. That's serializer, deserializer. So that's a analog compartment. All right. It's inside a module called PMA and stuff. I'm not going into the details. So scaling down the service according to the latest technology, it's a very difficult task. That is something that has failed over the years. So failed, succeeded, blah blah blah. So each company's success and failure when it comes to interconnect. So you might have heard the news about NVIDIA NVLink. So NVLink's Ethernet Ethernet PHY interface is very advanced or more mature, and that's because they have a perfect service interface. So that is a pure analog position, analog design. That its developments are happening in India as well. So physical interfaces are one of the major fields that you can find analog jobs in India. In all these companies like Synopsys, Cadence, and all those. But in companies like AD and Texas Instruments, you can find a lot more. All right. So I told you about the collaborative course between program between IIT Madras and Texas Instruments. That is a pure analog. They have an I think it's AMS, analog and mixed skills. So you can check that out. That is something I found fun. So you develop and you tape out a chip at the end of by the end of the program. So and if you perform well enough, you get a job in the TI's division. So also analog comes in a lot of analog roles comes in the lidar and radar, all those fields. You can also find that radar based projects happening in what was that name, DRDO, National Oceanography and uh, uh, the one that's there near NPOIL, yeah. NPOIL, exactly, exactly. So NPOIL has a lot of projects in the same area. You can check that out. And DRDO also have. And at the same time, LiDAR technology and all those technologies are being used in automotive industry as well. So there again, you need a lot of analog engineers to do that. You can check that out as well. So these are the few analog roles that you can check out in India, but a little bit more specific, you might have to check abroad, a little bit more research oriented. Uh, but there are opportunities. I wouldn't say there aren't any. So that's there. So I guess that's the end of questions. Anything else? I think you can open up your mic and you can ask it. No problem. Uh, I guess not. Uh, yeah, I guess that's it, Namish. If anybody, if no one else has any other doubts, I think you can write it up, right? Yeah. Thank you, Namish. Thank you all. Have a good night. Bye bye.